Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. One of the questions which came up a lot when I asked about in the library what you'd like to know about and what you'd like to see, you said that you want to know about how you organize a library. So inshallah, this is going to show you a very brief short clip on how this library is organized, and it's a small library, so inshallah hopefully you're all going to be able to do something similar. So let's begin. So over here, this section is Tafsir of Quran. So you've got, for example, Tafsir of Ibn Kathir. You've got the Mukhtasar of Tafsir of Ibn Kathir as well. Here you've got Fath al-Qadir by Imam Shawkani, another classical, very good tafsir. And then you've got Ahkam al-Quran by Shaykh Uthaymeen. And then you've got Qawaid of and Usul Ulum al-Quran here. So you've got Tafsir, Jami' al-Ahkam al-Quran for al-Qurtubi, Tafsir on the Lugha, Tafsir of Shanqiti. So all of this section is Tafsir. And then you've got a small section on the sciences of Tafsir, Ulum al-Tafsir, Al-Itqan by also Suyuti. And you've got Qawaid al-Tafsir as well. Okay, that's that section. Then underneath that, you've got Seerah and Tarikh. So you've got Zad al-Ma'ad, which is a Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, and that's a biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you've got other books on the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you've got general Seerah. So for example, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, which is Tarikh, beginning to the end. That covers all of history. You've got Ibar by Imam Dhahabi. And you've got Nuzhat al-Fudala, which is a Tahdhib of Seerah A'lam al-Nubala, which is also Imam Dhahabi. Then you've got a book on the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, biographies of the scholars. And then underneath, you've got stuff to do with al-adab and akhlaq, which is manners, and literature, and lugha. So this is all lugha. So you've got, I won't go through each of the books, we'll do that separately inshallah. But one of the main books in lugha is the explanation of Alfiya bin Malik, which is what we study at the Jamia Islamiyya, which is Ibn Aqil's explanation of Alfiya. And also a very nice book, really important for someone that loves language, is this book, Majma' al-Amthal, which is basically parables and wise sayings. Inshallah, we're going to go through some of that. And down here, we've got some dictionaries, Mawrid, Ar-Ra'id, and I don't have that many dictionaries. We've got this one, which is one of the students from SOAS recommended it, Ismail, this is a really good book as well, inshallah. So some of the books you find, even though he's a non-Muslim, he still did a khidmah for the language, as you find with the Handsworth Dictionary as well. Okay, let's move across to the section which is Hadith. At the top you've got the Silsila al-Ahadith al-Sahih of Shaykh al-Albani, where he combined Ahadith which are authentic. I haven't got his Da'ifa. Then you've got Kutub al-Sitta here. You've got Muwatta of Imam Malik. Again, Kutub al-Sitta continued. Targhib al-Tarhib, which is Mundhiri, very good book as well. Targhib al-Tarhib is important because Targhib, it means encouragement. Tarhib, it means admonition. Ahadith that speak about the virtues and rewards of doing actions and warning of sins. Then you've got, so this is Hadith. And Ahadith, you've got, for example, Riyad al-Salihin by Shaykh Uthaymeen, very important book. His explanation of it, the book itself is a compilation of Hadith by Imam Nawawi. Got Hadith al-Ahkam, Hadith specific for rulings like Bulugh al-Maram, the classic one, the famous one. And the explanation of Umdat al-Ahkam called Taysir al-Allam by Bassam. Very important book for every student of knowledge as well. Going down a bit, you've got Mustalah Hadith. So you've got explanation of Mustalah Hadith, Alfiya, Suyuti again, big scholar in Hadith and all of the sciences. You've got so many books on Mustalah Hadith. One of the ones that they study in the Jamia, in Kulliyat al-Hadith that they go through mainly is Tadrib al-Rawi by Imam, is it Imam Nawawi's explanation? Fi Sharh Taqrib al-Nawawi. So this is an explanation of Imam Nawawi's book on Mustalah Hadith. And the one that explains it is who? As-Suyuti again. Again, he's in every science he's wrote and he authored books. Okay, so this is Hadith. Again, this is Ilm al-Rijal, Tahdhib al-Tahdhib, science of the narrators. This is the Kutub al-Sitta, again in a kind of, this is, to be honest, one of my favorites. When it comes to the best tab'a of Imam Bukhari, it's considered this one. This is not a good copy of it, but have a look at this. Look how it's everything so classic, so beautiful. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, so amazing. This is Tab'atu Sultaniyya. With regards to prints of books, it's not my speciality. Speak to Umar Jamaica, like I said before, but this is probably one from this is a photocopy, as you can see, of the best tab'ah of Sahih al-Bukhari. Underneath, you've got, again, small booklets. We're not going to go into that too much. Again, Ilm al-Rijal here. And then here you've got, it's really the works of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya. It's a compilation of his works. His works are famous. A lot of them are translated into English. Al-Muhalla, now we're speaking about a fiqh of Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm has his own madhab, obviously the Zahiri madhab. And again, important to understand the tahqiq. This word tahqiq means the check-in. Who did the check-in of this book? Ahmed Shakir, who's a scholar of hadith. He's got a brother called Mahmoud Shakir, who's an adib, a scholar of the lugha. So you find he did tahqiq of many books, like over there, the Mukhtasar of, here, this Tahdhib, again, have a look. It's Muhaqqiq of Ahmed Shakir. So generally speaking, the tahqiqat of Ahmed Shakir on books are good and sought after. Likewise, the tahqiqat of Shaykh al-Albani on books. Okay, so we've done Quran and we've done Hadith. So we said you've got Quran, science of Quran, you've got Adab, and then you've got Tariq and history, Adab being literature, and Lugha, Arabic language, Sarf. Over here you've got Hadith, and you've got the science of Hadith, and the other Ilm al-Rijal. Now over here you've got Fiqh. This is the Fiqh section, and the Aqidah and Tawheed section. Okay, what's the difference between these two sciences? You have the science which is practical for every single Muslim to understand, he has to know, which is, and then it's the mutun on the subjects that he studies. Fiqh is how to worship Allah, and Aqidah, so the meaning of the Shahada, and then the meaning of the Salah and the Zakat and Sawm and Hajj. That's Fiqh, and then the other aspects or chapters of Fiqh. And Aqidah is obviously Tawheed and Iman, belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With regards to Tafsir and Hadith, explanation of Hadith and Tafsir of the Quran, then that's all of this is included in that. So that's, for example, the ghaya, that's the objective, that's what you want to study. The sayings of for example, the Salaf, the Sahaba, the Tabi'in. This is what you study as books and courses, so that when you read the book of Tafsir, you understand it. When you read explanation of Hadith, you understand it. Okay, let's have a look. With regards to fiqh, at the top we've got Fatawa of Ibn Taymiyyah. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, his Fatawa is obviously well known. This is an old volume, it's 37. This is an old print. Sometimes the old prints are a lot better because there's no mistakes, there's less mistakes. This is Fath al-Bari, this should go over there, but this is explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari. It's like an encyclopedia of Islam. So it's got fiqh, it's got all the topics, and it's up there. So you've got Fatawa, you've got fiqh, and this is also Fatawa of the A'immat al-Najdiyah, called Durr al-Siniyah. This is the Fatawa and the letters and the books of the scholars of Najd, Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and of them. Okay, that's the Fatawa. It's up there because it's connected to fiqh, and this is, like I said, an encyclopedia. Looking at fiqh, you've got Fiqh of Muqarin, which is comparative fiqh, authored by scholars in different madhahib. So Al-Mughni by Ibn Qudama is also a classical book that every student of knowledge has to have because it's Fiqh al-Muqarin. So he mentions the Hanbali madhab, and then after that he mentions the other madhahib and he makes tarjih. He gives you, for example, difference of opinion and the reasons for why one opinion is stronger than another. And this is by Ibn Qudama. He's got a collection of books. This is his, the final one that you study after you study the smaller books, such as, let me see, Al-Umdat al-Fiqh, or Al-Umdah fil Fiqh is also his book which you studied before. That's the first book you study. And we spoke about this in the video I did with Sheikh Saeed Hassan, inshallah. So we're going to have a look at that book when we come across it. Okay, going down, keep going across. So this is fiqh. This is fiqh on the Hanbali madhab over here. This is fiqh on the Hanbali madhab, an explanation of Shaykh Uthaymeen on Zad al-Mustaqni', which is the Mu'tamid, the book which is the Hanbali Mu'tamid on the madhab, generally speaking. Explanation of Zad, explanation of Zad, explanation of Zad. These are all explanations of Zad al-Mustaqni'. This is the explanation of Zad, which is the main one, Hashia Rawd al-Murbi', explanation of Zad. Another copy, which is a different copy of Rawd al-Murbi' as well. So these are all on the Hanbali madhab. This is the explanation of Al-Umda fil Fiqh, again by Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, and this is his explanation. This is the beginner's book in fiqh. Why is it a beginner's book? What makes it a beginner's book in fiqh? A number of reasons. Number one, the number of issues which are covered in the book are less than the larger books. He only covers the main issues. Second, he doesn't mention differences of opinion across the madhab or across the madhahib. In the one madhab you might have different views, and then you have different views across the madhab. He just mentions the main qawl, and also as well it's simplified in that he mentions the dalil inside the text. Usually fiqh books don't mention the evidence inside the text, they just mention the text. But this is why this book is considered a book which is fiqh al-sunnah and fiqh on the madhab of Imam Ahmad as well. Malakhis al-fiqhiyya, we spoke about this I think in our talk. This is Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan. He's summarized fiqh, and what this is really a reading of this summarized, which he did over a period of years on the radio in the Mamlaka. So this is, again, it's in the place where you have the explanations contained connected to this book, which is Zad al-Mustaqni' fi Ikhtisar al-Muqni'. Al-Muqni' is by Ibn Qudama. It's a middle-level book. After you study Al-Umda, you are supposed to study Al-Kafi, then Al-Muqni'. The difference between Al-Muqni' and Al-Umda, Al-Muqni' has different aqwal within the madhab. Okay, so you see the differences amongst the madhab and why there's different aqwal in the madhab. Before you go to Mughni, okay, what did this author do? He took Muqni' and he summarized it, called it Zad al-Mustaqni'. And this is the main book that you study when you're studying Hanbali fiqh. And alhamdulillah, I got to complete it when I was in the Mamlaka in the Jamia. Okay, there's loads. This is Muqni', what we spoke about. Hanbali madhab, going, the order, Al-Umda fil Fiqh. Then there's a book called Al-Kafi, or you can go straight to Zad, which is a summary of this book, Al-Muqni'. Al-Muqni' again is Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, the author of Mughni, the author of this. And this is for the students at a higher level. After they study Umda, they study Al-Muqni'. Muqni', with its explanation, Al-Sharh al-Kabir, another book called Al-Insaf. All of this is 3 books on the Hanbali madhab in one book of 32 volumes. 32 volumes. There's a quick story behind me purchasing this book. When this book first came out, everyone was excited to get a copy of it. I went to the Ma'rad, I went to the bookshop, I was looking for it, I was waiting. It came out, I paid my 500 riyal, a lot of money at that time. Still a lot of money if you're a student in the Jamia, you get only 800 or 900 riyal a month. So I bought the book, I went home. 32 volumes. What do you think happened? I'll tell you what happened. Alhamdulillah, because I like books, I enjoy reading. I open the book and I start reading. And what do I find? I find blank pages, completely blank. I'm going through the book and I'm flicking. It's like, wait, where's the words gone? Like this. Hold on. Like that. But it wasn't the end of a chapter. It was Kitab al-Zakat and it's missing up to that. Blank pages. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Here's a mas'ala for you. I go back to the guy in the shop and I say, look, this is like 32 volumes, but all these pages are missing. I said, he gave me an offer. He said, you can either take some money back, or I can replace the books for you and give you a new set, or I can get a complete refund. I said, replace the books for me. What's that called? That's called a ghaban. A ghaban in fiqh is a mas'ala where when you buy something and it's not as it is described. Now, in that case, you can give it back and get a full refund, or you're entitled to get the difference in the price between the good product and the product that you've bought, which has got ghaban in it because you're maghbun. So this is a mas'ala in buyu' contracts. So that's al-Muqni'. Okay, here, after you do the Hanbali madhab, you got Bidayat al-Mujtahid. We spoke about this, which we studied. This is a very important book as well. You have to get this. This is Shaykh al-Albani's book called Irwa al-Ghalil في تخريج أحاديث منار السبيل. What does that mean? There's a book called Dalil al-Talib, which is right here. That book is another of the main books on the Hanbali madhab. Quick story. While I was busy studying this book, Zad, my good friend Muawiyah Taka, was busy studying that book, Dalil al-Talib, with Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, who was teaching it regularly in a masjid next to the Haram. Now this book is like that, except that this got more acceptance. So this is a book which is a madhab on the Mu'tamid on the madhab, has an explanation called Manar al-Sabil, which mentions all of the evidences for this. Because if you look in this book, which is Dalil al-Talib, you're going to see mas'ala, ahadaha khiyar al-majlis. And it mentions just the hukum, definition, the rulings, the shurut, or khiyar al-shart. It mentions just no ahadith. Is there ahadith behind these? Yes, 100%. Ahadith, ayat of Quran, qiyas, ijma'. So the scholars, there's a book called Dalil al-Talib or Manar al-Sabil, which mentions all the ahadith for this book. So it mentions the evidences. Those evidences, Shaykh al-Albani is a scholar of hadith, scholar of fiqh. What did he do? He went to that book and he did takhrij of the book. What does that mean? He went through the book and all the ahadith, he gave the isnad for the hadith, and he also mentioned the fiqh. هذا حديث يعرف بيعقوب بن وليد المدني هو منكر الحديث ضعفه يحيى بن معين. So he goes through the hadith and he gives you the takhrij of the hadith and gives the hukum of the hadith, gives fawaid of ilm al-rijal, and also the shaykh, he also gives different fiqh points. So this book, Irwa al-Ghalil, is essential because it purifies, for example, the aqwal of the madhahib from weak opinions or opinions which are based upon weak ahadith. It's an essential book. Okay, there's so much more to talk about, but then you have individual books on different madhahib. This is a book on the Shafi'i madhab, one of the main books by Ghazali. He's one of the scholars of the Shafi'i madhab. Then you have a book on this is also Shafi'i madhab. This is Maliki madhab, Al-Furuq by Qarafi, a very important book, very famous book on the Maliki madhab. Then you have a book on the Hanafi madhab, a matan. When I say book, I'm speaking about one of the main textbooks on, or curriculums on each of the madhahib. This is on the Hanafi madhab, is Al-Quduri, Mukhtasar al-Quduri, which is on the Hanafi madhab. So because I studied primarily in the Mamlaka, I studied Hanbali fiqh primarily, I still made sure I got a matan, which is essential for a library, in each of the different madhahib, either a beginner's matan or an intermediate matan, so you can make reference to their aqwal when you need to. And if you're able to, then obviously also get one of their big books, because sometimes you might read, for example, Mughni or a fiqh of Muqarin like Bidat al-Mujtahid. They mention this is a qawl of the madhab, and you want to check. Maybe it's not there, it's one of the aqwal, but it's not the mu'tamid qawl. This is another important book on the Shafi'i madhab, which is Mughni al-Muhtaj, for who's the author. The author is, there you go, I don't know the author because I don't study the Shafi'i madhab. In any case, one of the main books on the Shafi'i madhab is an explanation. It's an explanation of a book which is called Al-Minhaj, and that's by Imam Nawawi from what I remember. And just to make sure I've got that right, we're going to check. Al-Minhaj is a book which is on the Shafi'i madhab by Imam An-Nawawi. Imam Nawawi is a huge scholar, a great scholar of Islam. He's got a huge book which is a fiqh encyclopedia, which I haven't got unfortunately, but if you're a student of knowledge you should have it. And if you're in the Mamlaka and you want to bring a gift back to Medina College Library, then that's one of the books that you can bring, inshallah. Okay, that's fiqh. Different madhahib, fiqh al-muqarin, comparative fiqh, like encyclopedias in fiqh, fatawa. Then you've got important topic called usul al-fiqh and qawaid al-fiqh. So down here you have usul al-fiqh. So this is one of the main books we study in the Jamia, Rawdat al-Nadir. It's an explanation of it by At-Tufi, a mukhtasar of it. And here you have different books in usul al-fiqh. Just for benefit, this book is by, again, Ibn Qudama. Ibn Qudama Rawdat al-Nadir, which is in Usul al-Fiqh. What is it? It's a mukhtasar of this book, Al-Mustasfa by Imam al-Ghazali.
It's 16 hours.
So this is a based upon this book, which is by Imam Ghazali. Also, you have an explanation of this by Imam Shanqiti, Muhammad al-Amin al-Shanqiti, who is one of the great scholars of not far from our time. He wrote, while he was teaching this book in the Islamic University of Medina, the students, they write mudhakkara. This is another fa'idah, another benefit. When you study in the Jamia, this is the book you're going to study. But everyone goes to the printing shop and they ask, where's the mudhakkara for this subject? And the mudhakkara is either the dictation, what the teacher said in the lesson, which the students wrote down. In this case, they took the notes of Shaykh Muhammad al-Shanqiti, who's an alim kabir in usul al-fiqh, in tafsir, in lugha, in all of the sciences, but especially in fiqh and usul, and they wrote a mudhakkar of it. And instead of just printing it as a paper form, they printed it as a actual book. They printed it as an actual book, and then I think, if I'm right, he checked it or he looked over it. So what happened there? This is what happens when you've got a battery that cuts out. The battery cut out. Let's continue. So where were we? We were speaking about usul al-fiqh, and Shaykh Muhammad al-Shanqiti, one of the biggest scholars of our time. He wrote a tafsir, by the way, called Adwa al-Bayan. You have to buy it, it's a must. Shaykh Abdul Muhsin al-Abad, when he advises people to buy tafsir, he always advises them to read that one. So this is usul al-fiqh, very important. If you want to understand fiqh and you want to understand the meaning of the Quran, the meaning of a hadith, you have to study usul al-fiqh. It's just a principle. Now you go to Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya. This is Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya. This is one of the main books on Qawa'id al-Fiqh. It's called Qawa'id al-Kubra. And this is by Ibn Abd Salam. This is by Izz Ibn Abd Salam, and this is one of the main books on Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya that you have to and that you should have. After that, let's go up. And we're going to look at the section which is also important, which is Aqidah. In Aqidah, you've got levels of books, like you have in fiqh. So you've got Mutun, which is one book, like, for example, this explanation of Shaykh Uthaymin on Kitab at-Tawheed. Kitab at-Tawheed, you've got a number of explanations, easier ones and harder ones. So at the beginning, the first explanation you read after reading the book and listening to it explained from a Shaykh would be the explanation of Shaykh Uthaymin. And to be honest with you, with regards to books, then if you buy every book of Shaykh Uthaymin, you can't go wrong. And I mean that every single book of Shaykh Uthaymin that is published, you buy it, you're going to benefit, because he is matter of fact, Shaykh Uthaymin is a library. Forget this library, Shaykh Uthaymin is a library in and of himself. He's got a book on every single topic, and his book on every single topic is full of fawaid, full of benefits. So anyway, this is his explanation of Kitab at-Tawheed. Then you've got up one, for example, and you'd read the explanation of at-Tamheed, which is the explanation of Shaykh Saleh al-Shaykh, who's a former Wazir al-Awqaf. He was the Minister of Awqaf, Islamic Affairs in the Mamlaka. Really good book. Then you've got the main one of the main ones which is studied, which is Fath al-Majid. Fath al-Majid is an explanation of Kitab at-Tawheed by one of this is Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab here. This is his grandson, Abdurrahman ibn Hussein ibn Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. So it's the grandson of the Shaykh who authored the book. There's another one which is one level above this. I'm going to show you now. It's called, the name slipped my head at this moment, Taysir al-Aziz. What is it called? Subhanallah. It slipped my head. I'm going to remember it and I'll tell you. Anyway, let's continue. That's Kitab Tawheed. So for example, when you're studying, as I was saying, go back to the point, you study, for example, a book, Kitab Tawheed. You study the explanation of that book by a contemporary scholar, then the classical scholar. Okay, then you have encyclopedias of Tawheed and Aqidah, like this, Sharh Usul al-I'tiqad Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And some brothers have started, I think, publishing this in English, like Al-I'tisam of Shatibi. This mentions the Aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and it mentions a lot of the A'imma, and it affirms the aqidah. Like Ash-Shari'ah for Imam al-Ajuri, another big book in Tawheed and Aqidah. And then you have this, which is Awasim wal-Qawasim, in the Aqidah, but specifically related to defending the honor of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then you have topic specific. So for example, topic specific, there's a mas'ala which is qada wal qadar. Al-qada wal qadar, an important topic, a huge topic, lots of deviation, misguidance in it. You need one book which is going to answer all the shubahat and give the foundations of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah on that topic. It will be this one, Shifa al-Alil, which is في مسائل القضاء والقدر والحكمة والتعليل. By who? Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya again. Again, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya, all of his books are to be bought. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, all of his books are to be bought. This book specifically, it says Shifa al-Ali. Let's translate it so you can understand how beautiful these scholars were, even in their titling of books. You go Shifa al-Ali, cure for the Ali, the person that's marid, fi masail, in the issues of al-qada, wal-qadr, wal-hikmah, wal-ta'leel. So there's a rhyme in alil wa ta'leel. Okay, in the issues of qada and qadar, you know what qada and qadr is, defined the pre-decree of Allah. Wal-hikmah, the wisdom behind the rulings, wal-ta'leel, and the reasons behind the rulings. Why is that? What's the ta'leel of the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What's the hikmah of it? So this is a book which is topic specific. So you need books which cover a whole theme like tawheed, whether it's ibadah, asma, or sifat, or you need maybe on a specific one topic, especially if that topic is a topic where there's widespread misunderstanding and deviation, as well as potential for shubahat, then you need those books as well. Another important book with regards to aqidah. So you study tawheed, you study aqidah. What do you study on aqidah? The first book that you're going to study, or one of the main books you're going to study, is going to be Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyah of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. And then again you take an explanation of who? Guess? No need to. Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. Because like I said, you can buy every single book that he wrote, because he's a library in and of himself. It's essential for the student of knowledge. That's Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyah. Kitab al-Tawheed, Aqidah al-Wasitiyah. And then you can study, for example, this is a book that we study in the Jamia, Ma'arij al-Qabul, which is a book by Hafidh al-Hakami in Bishar Sulam al-Wusul ila Ilm al-Usul fi Tawheed, a book which takes you through the levels on the topic of Tawheed and is fairly contemporary. Going to topic specific again, you always need topic specific. Minhaj al-Sunnah al-Nabawiyya, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. This is a mukhtasar of it because it's a big book, in a refutation of who? Of the Shia. Again, it's topic specific, dealing with an issue where there's shubahat, the difference between Sunni and Shi'i. And that's also an important topic, comes up in the news a lot, political. So this is generally Tawheed. Again, another specific topic and a very big book is Talbis al-Jahmiyyah. Okay, this is a refutation of Ahlul Aqlaniyun by who? Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. So refutation is a part of the religion in defense of the fundamentals, Tawheed and Aqidah. You have to refute the innovations in the religion and the statements which are false. This is Ahl al-Kalam. Look at that. في تأسيس بدعهم الكلامية. Al-Kalamiyya, why are they called Ahl al-Kalam? Because they say al-Kalam fi mas'ala kidha. They say the statement in the issue of qada is such and such. So they're called Ahl al-Kalam. The subject of Tawheed is sometimes called Ilm al-Kalam. Because of this, they say al-Kalam fihi kidha wa kidha. This is Bayan Talbis al-Jahmiyyah, which is a deviated group. If you want to know more about the different groups, then on the Medina College portal, we had a course looking an introduction to fiqh and groups and deviated sects. So this is on topic. Again, another specific topic, subject specific, which is important, is on the issue of Asharat al-Sa'a, the signs of the hour. Okay, and this is a classical book that you should get by Shaykh Hamoud al-Tawajiri, one of the best books. Shaykh bin Baz, I think, did the muqaddimah to it, from what I remember. Let's double check that. Is it muqaddimah bin Baz? Or did I get that wrong? Maybe. No. The Shaykh went straight in. This is one of the best books on the topic. It mentions ahadith which are authentic on ما جاء في بما جاء في الفتن والملاهم وأشراط الساعة. Fitan being the issues of the hour and the fitan that happens. So again, you need general topics and you need specific subject-specific topics pertaining to the arkan of iman, whether it's qada and qadar, whether it's yawm al-qiyamah and the ashrat al-sa'a, or whether it's to do with refuting specific groups that go astray in their foundations and the principles. Okay, so that's with regards to Tawheed and Aqidah, a summary. Lastly, this section is, to be honest with you, it was the section where when we were putting the books back, we had some spare books and we just put them here. So it's a mixture of books. It's a mixture of books on Tawheed or on Adab or on Tarbiyah. There's a number of different books like Firaq al-Ma'asira, different contemporary groups. This is one of my favorite books to read, a book on Adab. This book is called Ad-Da'wa ila Allah, inviting to Allah fi aqtar mukhtalifa, in different continents and regions. And this is by the Sheikh Muhammad Taqiyuddin al-Hilali, well-known Moroccan scholar, one of the ones that did the translation of the Quran from what I remember. Is that Hilali? We'll check. Anyway, this book he speaks about, and this is it's like a travel diary in his travels while he's giving dawah. Okay, and he's refuting the deviated groups as well. He's refuting deviated groups. Look, there's poetry in there. Al-istishfa bidhabil khayr. He's talking about when he travels what he sees of inhirafat and disobedience and misguidance, and correcting it and refuting against it. So it's a beautiful book because it's contextualized straight away, and this is really good. Another really good book which is like that is Sheikh Muhammad al-Amin Shanqiti. He wrote a book where he's traveling from Rihla min Afrika ila al-Hajj. I'm going to find it and show it to you later. Another very good book that you can study, which is important to study, is in Aqidah, because it's short and it's one on, is this book, which is Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani, who's a Shafi'i scholar. Before he did his book, he's got a book called Risala. In the Muqaddimah, he speaks about Aqidah and Tawheed. So Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Badr, he explained this. Sheikh Abdul Muhsin is a muhaddith of the time. He explained this book, and as you'd expect from the muhaddith of this time, when he explains the book, what does he do? He mentions a hadith after hadith after hadith, and the aqwal of the likes of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and the Imma. ويشير شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله بالجملة الأخيرة وهي قوله, and he mentions the statements. The good thing about this meten is, again, this is from the contemporary scholars explaining a classical text and reading over it, so it's got a khidmat unto it. Also, in the beginning, he mentions a poem, because this book is in a poem form as well, where he gives you the whole poem as well, which again is a short poem in Aqidah, that if a person wanted to memorize it, inshallah, if he took 3 lines a day, 5 lines a day, he'd memorize it in a matter of a month or 2, maybe even less. So there's a poem you can memorize, there's an explanation, and poems are easier to memorize. So in ilm, you've always got either a meten or a nadhm. A nadhm is a poem, a meten is a text. And the scholars, they write the manzuma to make it easier to memorize. One of the famous manzumas, and I think this is what we'll end on, is Ibn al-Qayyim's manzuma in Aqidah. This is an explanation of it. This is his manzuma in Aqidah. I've got 2 explanations, this one and another one. And it's a famous manzuma in Aqidah. I think it's a alfiyah. So you have poems which are alfiyah, meaning they're 1,000 lines. You have poems which aren't alfiyah, they're less than 1,000 lines. But alfiyah obviously takes a longer time. It takes a lot longer to memorize. So that's an introduction to the library, or to my library. Having an overview, again, you've got tafsir, the sciences of tafsir, and tariq and lugha at the bottom. Then next to it, you've got hadith and the sciences of hadith underneath. Then you've got fiqh, fatawa, and usul al-fiqh underneath. Then you've got tawheed, aqidah, and then separate subjects as well. This is, inshallah, the library. This is how I built the library over a space of 6 years in the Jamia, every year reading and buying books. And inshallah, if you want to benefit from them, then you're welcome to come and to read the book in the library, but not to take it out of the college. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.